Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Danny's Detours, where we talk about anything and everything life related, and consciousness is our canvas. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I am the starting about again. We already know the score, my two favourite compadres, Paddy and Willow. Yeah, we're just starting about on a little bit of a trail walk today, guys. But yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic day today. But yeah, we're just getting out and about and, you know, getting a good bit of getting some of that fresh air in. Oh, absolutely fantastic there. But yeah, it's the sky is blue, but obviously if you look above, we already know and we can see what's going on. But listen, we cannot control that, guys, you know. That is out of our reach. Because what if I was to say to you that today is going to be the best day of your life? Because guess what? It already is. Because every day you've got to wake up with that thought process of knowing, of that love and that gratitude. Because at the end of the day, guys, right, this is how we beat these systems. Oh, we've got two seagulls, two swans there, guys, look at that. Two swans flying right overhead. Absolutely fantastic. That's twice that's happened to me today. And that's actually been happening to me quite regularly, that. Must be a sign from the universe. It has to be, because, you know, in fact, I'm going to do some research into that. But I do know apparently it's supposed to either be good luck, or I think it's supposed to represent, like, you know, unity and bond and relationships. Because I do know that swans, they mate for life, don't they? But yeah, I'm just starting about on the old backfields today. They're still pumping the skies, but listen, we can't control that. Chemtrails, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is, you know what I mean? But yeah, because they know we gain the power from the sun. You know, we get vitamin D from the sun, don't we? That's what restores us, that's what gives us energy, you know. But listen, it doesn't matter, guys, because you know what? You already have the power inside of you. You already have anything, you already have everything, you know, because when you first come into this world, into this life, you already was perfect. You already, you know, you come from the divine. You was God's creation, and you was put here for a certain set specific reason. Soul contracts, whatever you want to call it, you know. You already had everything, and you are everything, because you are Christ consciousness. But yeah, starting about, you know, enjoying nature. Just listen to that though, guys. You know, when you come out into nature and you get that solitude, you know, it's a bit like meditation. It's a good form of meditation, because you sit yourself down, you know, and you've no distractions. All you've got is greenery and just the sound of everything that is. And that's all that you need. And that's when you start to hear your inner voice, you know, your inner soul. And that's when it starts to speak to you. And that's when your intuition kicks in, guys. You know, that's when everything starts to become so clear. That's where we gain our uppermost clarity, you know. That's where we gain everything. Because we already are everything, guys. Never forget that. But yeah, right with Paddy and Willow. Come here. I've got some treats for them today, guys. I'm going to do a bit of sit me down. Right, no, you need to sit. Sit down. Right, no, sit. Right, don't bite me thumb off. That's for Willow. There we go. Aye. So yeah, we're just on a bit of a trail walk. Get out and about on these backfields. And yeah, but like I always say, guys, you know, you can do anything because you already are everything. You know, you are not your job. You are not your past. You know, you are not that definition of what your parents think you are, or even what you perceive to think that you think that they think that you are, you know. You know, you are whatever you say you are every morning. You get up and you give gratitude. You say thank you from the highest, most divine, from God. Because God has your back. Your angels have your back. You know, sometimes we go through trials and tribulations in life, guys. And we, you know, like obviously we all get our problems, you know, ups and downs, whatever you want to call it. You know, I've been through the fire in my past, guys, you know. Diabetes, drugs, you know, my son, Connor, bless him, you know, he's got like severe autism and learning difficulties, but I always look at it and think to myself, well, you know, all these tests, trials, tribulations were given to me for a reason. It was for refinement, guys. It was for, because if I was never to go through those experiences in my life and come out on the other side, then I would never have gained all this wisdom or knowledge, and I would never be in a position now where I could do these things and talk about these stories. Or, you know, it's gave me so much clarity, and I'm grateful for everything in my life. I am even grateful for all of the, you know, everything that's is to be perceived as, you know, putting me down, you know, whereas most people, you know, they'd look at that as like a disadvantage. Well, I thank God for these disadvantages now, because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for these disadvantages that I've been given in my life, I would not be able to rise up to my uppermost inner power. And it's been enabled me to, you know, gain this spiritual enlightenment and make me look at life in a different way. Because all we are really in this life, guys, is we are merely actors, you know. We're getting given a role, like you say with your job and that, but your job is not who you are. But when you start to look inside and realise, you know, spiritually, we're always being guided. Because you even look at like these multi-millionaires, yeah, or billionaires, and they'll say like, yeah, oh, well, I wanted success, or I wanted, you know, they wanted it, guys. But it wasn't actually the human form that gained it. It was the divine, if you think about it, because that was always orchestrating and always moving in the background. Because sometimes we'll get sort of like certain set scenarios where, you know, something will happen that we can't explain, you know, and that's the spirit world, guys. It's always guiding us and it's always pushing us. Yeah, and sometimes like you hear about these stories about these billionaires who lose so much money. You know, like they go bankrupt and stuff like that, but the key is not to give up. The key is to keep moving forward. And like I always say, you know, aim to get yourself better 1% every day, and then you're making progress, because God will give it to you in the right time. It's a little thing called divine timing, karmic retribution. Everything is all tied to this universe. You know, if you put out good and you are good inside, it has to reflect back into your reality. So yeah, thank you for today. Thank you for all the subscribers as well. I'm going to give a shout out to, I was talking to a lad actually in the gym. I'm not naming him because obviously, you know, he knows who he is, and we had a really good conversation the other day, and we was talking about a lot of different things. We was talking about, you know, what's going on in the world, but I was like giving him a little bit of an insight as to who I am, what I believe in, and you know, what I know, what we are. And you know, we are not our race. You know, we are not our religion, because this is not who we are. All these things are merely put in front of us into, you know, they're basically given to us to divide us, you know, because they know, the elites, the people at the top, they're running the show. Well, they think they're running the show, but they're not running my show, because I know what's what. But at the end of the day, it's all put there to divide us. Because when you think about it, the Romans, they did exactly the same thing when their empire was falling. You know, they because they started to do a little thing called coin clipping. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but basically it's like a debasement of the currency. So what they was doing, they was getting the coins, they was chipping off the edges, and they was melting them down in order to inflate the currency, to basically to create more currency. But guess what, guys? Our government has been doing that for hundreds of years. A little thing called money printing, just look it up. Debasement of currency, you know. And this is why we are rabid with inflation. And once people start to wake up to, you know, these actual atrocities that are going on in the world, you start to realise and understand that, you know, dare I say it, but people seem to think that inflation's going to go away, but it's not, guys. It'll only get worse until the system changes, until the system breaks and we get a new system. Will that happen? I do not know. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, guys, you know, it's only time will tell. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. But like I always say, thank you so much for the love and support. You know, all the details to my social medias are down in the description. We've got Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You already know the score on the Danny Detour Show. But from me, Paddy and Willow, love you loads. I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace.